Hello, my name's Nick. Today I'm going to teach you how to live cast a video game onto Twitch. So let me give you guys a little bit of introduction first. In the comments, I'm going to leave step-by-step instructions, so if you get lost, you can go there. And also, in the corners of the screen, I'm going to put up places that will let you skip to important sections of the video. The sections that we're going to work on, the first one is we're going to talk about how to get a Twitch account. We're going to talk about installing OBS, which is Open Broadcaster software. And we're going to do all of our settings and our setup for OBS. And then I'm going to walk you through the steps of everything else it takes to put together a cast. And now I'm having huge microphone issues, which we'll talk about later. So, first things first, go to Twitch, and if you'll just go to Twitch TV right at the startup. Mine's going to look different than yours. What you'll do is you'll click on sign up and work through things here. It'll be up in this corner, and then it'll take you into your actual account. So I'm going to go ahead and take you where it'll take you once you signed up. It'll drop you right in here, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with the normal sign up, the way that the internet has you do that. This is my account. You can see I've only got 2 followers because I'm really new at this. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Dashboard. This is a fantastic place to start with everything on Twitch, and I will come back to this point afterward. But there's one important piece you're going to need for OBS, and that's your stream key here. So I'm going to show you how to get there once now and then once later. And then you click Show Key, which I'm not going to do right now because then anyone could cast to my channel. So this is OBS. This is part 2 if you're following along with the comments. And all you're going to do is just normal install, and it actually installs really, really quickly. So I have Windows 8. Click here. It'll bring up the thing because I'm using Chrome. Download it. Install it. Really run-of-the-mill, easy stuff. What is tricky is when we get into Open Broadcasters. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and set it. So my settings are just normal, and what you're going to do is you're going to click on Settings here, and you're going to walk through a long list of things to change. And I'm going to walk you through that here. So one of the first things you're going to do, just make sure you have your language selected and title your profile. That'll make it easy if you ever have to come back and do something like this. You can just go to the default profile. In fact, that's what I'm going to call this. Then we go to encoding. In between every step it'll ask you to save. Just go ahead and do that. Now in encoding you want to make sure that you have use CBR checked, that you have enable CBR padding checked. We'll talk a little bit about bit rates later. This should come preset at 3000, and you're probably going to want to use that. And all the rest of your settings on audio encoding should be correct as they load out. Go to broadcast real quick. So this is where we're going to use that key I showed you earlier. So if you go live stream here, custom service, go to Twitch, of course, choose whatever's closest to you, and for me that's Silicon Valley. Then here we pull this stream key. The stream key is, if you go, and if you didn't watch this before, go to your dashboard on Twitch, and then click stream key, and then click show key. It'll be this big, long, like 32-digit number with some letters added, and just copy that and paste it in here. It recommends that you auto reconnect. I actually would turn the auto reconnect timeout down, has been my experience, but I haven't disconnected all that often. So, and that's something you're going to want to play with on your own. I've decided, since my computer's slower, that I'm not going to automatically save my stream to a file, because that means that the encoder's doing 2 things and the video game's trying to do something. And my computer can't handle doing 3 things at once. Maybe in the future I'll get a nicer one and I won't have that issue, but for now, that is an issue. Video settings. We're going to go through, and I don't think we're going to change much here. Yes, I'm going to save my changes. Your video adapter should just come preset. That shouldn't be an issue. Base resolution should also come pretty much preset, and if you want, you can just pick one of your monitors, and you don't have to worry about this information as much. It'll just fill that for you. This right here is a big deal. If you find that you're running slowly, just downscale it, and it'll make it more easy to run. Since my computer is kind of a junker sometimes, I've done that. Another thing, it might even be valuable to downscale and then up your frames per second, and it'll create a better video viewing. That's just one possible thing you could do. But for now, we're going to leave the resolution downscale at nothing, and we'll talk about that more in troubleshooting. Leave the frames per second just as it is. So basically, you don't have to do anything with video for your setup. Here, just make sure you're pulling from the correct audio device. That would be everything, and then your mic is, yeah, also everything. Or it'll just pick from my sound card, and that's what I'm telling it to do here. Other things you may want to do, push to talk. I've decided not to do that. I pretty much always want to be talking. This might be nice for people who are listening with one headphone. You know, it's all stuff that you pretty much can walk through. But these options are really scary if you just look at them first. So that's what I'm doing, is trying to keep you from getting scared by them. Here are your hotkeys. On my other profile, I have start stream and stop stream set on a hotkey, and that's it. I might want to do some other things like make push to talk space, unless I'm playing a first-person shooter where I jump, then that would be terrible. And I'll let you guys worry about that on your own. You're smart people, you can figure that out. When it comes to advanced, there are some important things to change here. I'm going to walk through these settings for you quick. And you almost could just skip to advanced, I think, other than the broadcast settings. So what you're going to do is you want to use the multi-thread because, I mean, if you're using Intel, it's the only choice, really. I played around with the idea of doing above normal. I only do that if your game is running really smooth, but this, for some reason, is not. I would say mostly just go normal and probably don't mess with that at all. Buffering time is fine. Leave all these just the way they are. Very fast. This is a place that you can change if you have one very specific issue, and that is that if your computer is just way too stinking good and your internet is not, what you do is you take very fast and you can set it lower than very fast. And that'll make it so it'll make it so you don't have as much issue with uploading the video. This is an important thing to change. You want to switch this. It is normally loaded at high. You want to switch it to main, and then set this to 2. Those are important. This is checked. That's good. This is not checked. You don't want to use custom encoder settings unless you really know what you're doing, and then if you are, you aren't watching this video. I just go ahead and leave that alone. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of these things alone. Here's another place, if you guys are struggling with the internet not running quickly enough, not being able to upload, you can click this and play around with this. I wouldn't widely recommend that. And the only other things that we have are the microphone noise gate. And this might be really nice if your microphone hisses or buzzes. These other two are things that I've added to the program, and I'll talk about doing that later. Alright, so the next thing you want to do with OBS is you want to set up your screen capture. Now I have 2 already clicked, and these are for very specific things. I may show off follower notification in a follow-up video, but what you want to do is you want to go to this sources section and right click, go ahead and click add, and then pick which capture you want. Now for games, I found this game capture is really good. That it works very well for that. But if you just want to capture a whole window, you can go ahead and do this, just name it, and then this will capture the windows. So this is the cheating document I'm reading from, and these are the other things I have open right now. I would go ahead and do the game capture, just because it's the easiest, and I already mentioned that. And then this will show applications that you can capture there. Once you have that set up, it'll pop up with a new box labeled as you labeled it, and then you can just toggle it on and off. So for this one, I was playing Anti-Chambered recently, and this is how I was capturing that. And if I didn't want to capture it and I just wanted to look at the right monitor instead, I could do that. And that's really it for sources. Once you have your sources set up, you can click Start Streaming, and it instantly goes on Twitch. That's as difficult as this gets. You've done all the setup, you've done all the stuff beforehand, and all of a sudden it goes on Twitch and you're live and anybody in the world can watch you. Which is, scary, but I think it's really fantastic thing as well. And I'll talk about that at the end. Alright, so next thing we're going to talk about is troubleshooting, how to fix problems that may arise as you're working through. And the big one that I've run into is that my computer isn't quick enough to run both the game and my encoder at the same time. So what I do is I'm in OBS again, and I go to Settings, and inside Settings I go to Video. The easiest way to do this is just pick your resolution downscale and drop it down here, right? And I did it at 2.25. And then you want to go back to encoding, and you want to change this number. And there's actually a formula for how you change that number, and I'll post that. Actually, I'll just copy that. I'll post it in the links down below. But for a 1080p, you want 3000 to 3500. 720, you want 18 to 2500. 480p, and I think that's what I stream in is... Well, no, actually I am streaming in 720, aren't I? Anyway, I'll post that all up, and it'll make a lot more sense there. And that's one way to really get your computer running quicker in a hurry. The other big thing that we could run into with troubleshooting is what we've talked about already, and that is that network's just not fast enough. And then you can just enable this automatic low latency mode, and that's a good way to do it. One of the other things that we talked about is this setting. And if you just go through, and faster is for if your internet connection is better, and slower is for if your computer is better. I'd almost recommend not switching that ever and see if there are other things that you can do, but it is a pretty solid change to the program. Alright, the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that you've experienced a little bit already, I'm sure, and that is the volume leveling. I've been messing around with my mic position as I make this video, and one way that you can do that is by messing with your settings on your computer here, but I think that's fine. And then the other thing that you can do is you can take OBS, go into your settings real quick, go into broadcast settings, and then change this to file output. And then what you do is you go OK, and you start recording, and then you just record the stream instead, and you test your mic with different settings and decide which setting works the best. And that's really it. But that's a way that you can do that with your OBS. You can test your settings. Okay, there are two more things that we're going to talk about in this video, and then I'll give you a little bit of encouragement. I'll let you go. One is, how do I actually get a game? This is Steam. You can look somewhere else for how to put Steam together. If you just search for it, you can probably find it. And then you get your game. It goes into your library. I have games already in my library here. And then you choose a game to stream, and Transistor is one that I've been doing a lot recently. You go ahead and let that run. You say, alright, play the game, make it run, and then I'm going to take this and slide it over here. I'm actually doing this dual screened, so it's going to be a little bit different for the way you guys see it. And I have Transistor open, running. Alright, finally have it back. Alright. And then you can just hit your hotkey to get your stream started, but look, at this point we have nothing going on. So you actually have to go through and add your game capture while the game is running, or else it doesn't work. Go ahead and select transistor, hit OK, and then you can start streaming. It pops up here, shows you what you're doing, and then anything you do in the game, and it's running too slowly because I'm trying to do like 3 things at the same time, is also done on this screen here and gets done over on your stream. And this is actually streaming right now. If you go to my channel, you can see this little flub as I started my stream. So another thing you're going to need when you cast your game is you're going to need to be able to view your chat. It's important to be able to view your chat, to be able to establish a community, and to be able to create a personality, to be able to create a persona out there. Really, one of the big reasons that people watch games is they have the ability to interact with them a little bit. For example, one of the things that Twitch did is they put together a huge game of Pokemon where everyone collectively had control over it and could just watch it. And that idea of community that was attached to that is the same idea that is inherent in Twitch. So, what you do and if you have this screen open, which has chat in it, while you have your cast running, then it keeps looping sound and takes extra bandwidth to be able to bring this back, to be able to cast this video back to you. So, what you do is you go here on this little icon here. You go up to pop out, and then it pulls your chat into a separate window. And then you go ahead and move that. I'm just going to move it off screen for these purposes to my other screen. And once you've done that, you can go ahead, you can close this down. Just close your whole browser. And that also helps with the speed, making sure that your computer isn't running too many things at the same time, which you should probably already understand at this point, and I shouldn't mention. So this is going to be the list that I'll give you guys, but I did want to give you some quick tips on creating an entertaining cast before I let you go. Okay, so I toyed around with a couple of different ideas for what I would present on the screen during this section, because what I'm talking about doesn't really have much to do with a visual presentation like the rest of this video has been. But then I realized that the most important thing you want to do is establish a community, like we already talked about a little bit. And so the community that I have, that I'm looking for, the culture that I'm looking for as I'm establishing mine, has to do with a lot more single-player games. So you see Anti-Chamber, Bastion, Bioshock, Blaze Blue. I mean, these are almost entirely single-player games. Portal. I do play Dota because I think it's fun, but I'm really bad at it. Borderlands 2 is arguably single-player. But that's the kind of culture that I've gone for. And what you want to do is you want to establish your culture, and then you want to have that in mind. You want to make sure that you keep that, in chat, that you have a schedule. Schedule is really important. So what you do is you lay out your casts before you do them, and it only takes 10-15 minutes of preparation. And you write down what the cast is going to be about, and then some key things that you want to talk about while you're doing it. One of the things that I found was really helpful, as I was casting Anti-Chamber, I found that when I looked into the history a little bit, it made talking about the game easier. Also, Anti-Chamber was a lot easier to cast than Transistor, because Anti-Chamber had a lot more time for me to think out loud and to talk to my community. Whereas Transistor was a lot more snappy, split-second things, and actually took away from my ability to talk. So your game choice is also something you should consider. But the point that I was going for was not game choice. It was actually that you should write down what you want to do beforehand. Another thing is make sure you're looking at chat occasionally. You want to have a conversation with them. If you don't have chat, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Pretend like you do, and then you'll begin to have a chat. It's one of those fake it until you make it kind of things. And then, lastly, don't feel too much pressure to give entertaining commentary. This I almost can't stress enough. Some people are willing to sit and just watch you play a game, and that's what they want to do. It's kind of a catharsis even, to sit down and watch somebody go through something. And if you put too much effort into your commentary, into specifically structuring entertaining commentary, you'll wind up missing that point entirely. You won't play the game, you won't play the game well, and you also won't come up with entertaining commentary, because it's one of those things that when you try to do it, it's extra difficult to do it. So more than anything, play the game, relax. If people follow you, that's great. If people don't follow you, it's really not the end of the world. If people heckle you in chat, it doesn't matter. There are people out there who are just looking to get your guile. So don't worry about it. It's a very relaxed thing. And if you can't relax while doing it, this might not be the thing for you. And on that somewhat dour thought, I'll leave you guys be. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.